earlier today. They talk about you being a key to recognizing the defense. So what's key for you to be able to counter that, to be the counter move, to be able to disguise, especially against a guy like Brady who's seen everything?
Well, you just got to mix up certain looks, certain disguises, certain formations. Just give Tom Brady, something different pre-snap. But you never want to jeopardize, disguise, for where you're supposed to be in the defense. So, at the end of the day, I'm going to get to my spot, and read my keys and play ball. But for the most part, pre-snap, I'll try to do my best to switch up certain looks.
Next question is Richard Graves from Sky Sports. Richard?
Hey, Tyrann. Congratulations on getting back to the Super Bowl. If you could just expand a little bit on what you were saying there, because everybody talks about your offense and the Legion of Zoom. What sort of problems are you faced with by the Bucs offense and some of the weapons they have?
Yeah, I mean, they have a great offense. They have great weapons all over the place. Really some great coaches that are really spearheading the thing. I think anytime you think of Tom Brady, you think of one of the best players of all time. And, he's on a team now where, he has 4 or 5 wide receivers that are really capable of kind of, wrecking the game. So, and those guys have a really good run game as well. Got 2 running backs that can really get it done. So, it's a big challenge, when I peel my eyes back and really look at the Buccaneers offense, but obviously you start with Tom Brady.
Next question is Darren Urban from ArizonaCardinals.com. Darren?
Hey, Tyrann. Good to see you again.
Hey, Darren.
I know it's been a couple years now that you have the hindsight that you do and where you are in your career. When you look back at your time in Arizona, just what did that mean to you? How did it get to you where you are today?
Well, it meant the most to me, Darren. I think really coming into that organization, so many leaders of that team. You talk about Larry Fitzgerald. A lot of people think of Patrick Peterson, but Darnell Dockett, Calais Campbell. All these guys really, went out of their way to teach me how to become a pro. Each and every day, and obviously, even at a young age, I felt like those guys, believed in my leadership and what I was capable of as a player, and it really propelled me to this point. So when I think about time in Arizona, I think about all of the good people. All of the good teammates I had that really put their arm around me, embraced me, and really allowed me to, flourish in the NFL.
This is Amy Just with the New Orleans Times-Picayune. Amy?
Good afternoon from New Orleans. Tyrann, how are you doing?
Hey, Amy. Doing good.
Going back to your roots here a little bit. You and Leonard Fournette, 2 guys from the 7th Ward, went to St. Aug. Now you're both playing in the Super Bowl. How special is that for you, just knowing that he's on the other side getting his chance at it too, even though you would beat him, obviously?
I mean, really it's such a special moment. I know for us, and obviously you have a lot of dreams, growing up as a kid, and I'm pretty sure none of us dreamt of this moment, So he's a great player. He's a great talent. I'm really happy for him, and the success he's been having. Just want to see him continue to lead, and continue to make plays for his team. But, it's going to be a special moment for us both.
Next question is James Palmer with NFL Media. James, go ahead.
Tyrann, I hope you're good, my man. I haven't spent a lot of time with you guys this year, but I'm curious about when you go against Tom and what he does with his eyes to manipulate you guys in the secondary. You got a pretty good guy in Kansas City that does it as well. How does Tom do it differently, and how does he try to move you guys around? What's that challenge?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great challenge. Listen, man, Tom Brady, he's been doing this thing a long time. He has all the experience in the world. He's seen it all. He's done it all. I think for him, a lot of what he does is very subtle, but just that quick subtleness, can get the post safety out of the middle of the field, or, can get somebody else's eyes, where they aren't supposed to be. And, he's always been a good quarterback in the sense that he knows where to go with the football, so any misstep, any false step on the back end, he usually makes teams pay for it.
Next question is Raphael Haynes from the 3 Point Connection. Raphael, go ahead.
Undefeated national champs last year.
Hey, Tyrann, it's Raphael from the 3 Point Conversion. First of all, congrats.
Thank you.
You all representing LSU like a mug right now. But I wanted to ask you. You look at when you came from LSU to Arizona to Houston, and now you have a chance to win championship back to back. What does that mean to you?
I mean, it means a lot. I think a lot goes into it. Really not just the last couple of years, but if you even reach back, way to LSU and obviously my time in Arizona and Houston. I think all those moments kind of prepare you, at least prepare myself for the position I'm in today. So just try my best to be humble and grateful and just continue to really put in the work so that I'm able to kind of maximize or get the most out of these opportunities that really are in front of me right now.
Next question is Todd from WHB in Kansas City. Go ahead, Todd.
Hey, Tyrann.
Hey.
This is supposed to be opening night, right? This is like Marlins Park last year. Everyone comes out, the lights and all that stuff. How different is this week going to be, you think, compared to last year in the preparation, since you guys are just going to be, sitting around at home?
Yeah, I mean, listen, it'll be a lot different. I don't think, it's a blessing to even be in this position. I don't really think any of us could really complain about anything. Obviously, you don't get to experience the week, in Tampa Bay. And so it's a lot of things that go into that. But, at the end of the day, it's all about, preparing yourself for the big game. And I think not, being able to do a lot of those things is help, eliminate a lot of distractions. So, hopefully we can use, all of this downtime, this quiet time to our advantage.
Next question is Blair from the BBC in the United Kingdom. Go ahead, Blair.
Hi, congratulations, first of all. So you've talked about how this team really works together, the character of this team, you guys have grit. How do you think that's going to give you advantage, both offensively, but mainly defensively, when it comes to coming up against a quarterback like Tom Brady and the Buccaneers offense?
Yeah, I think it's a great challenge, we have in front of us. I think when you think about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, you see a complete football team. Obviously they're great on offense, but they have one of the best defenses in the league as well. And so we understand it's going to take 4 quarters to kind of put this team away, and we're up for the challenge.
Okay, next question is Alex Secchia from ESPN Radio 920. Go ahead, Alex.
Hey, Tyrann, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Hey, Tyrann. So first of all, I just want to congratulate you on making this far to the Super Bowl. And my question for you is, being the first team, or you're looking to be the second team since New England 03-04 to go and win back-to-back Super Bowls. Can you describe the feeling that would be to be that second team to do that, especially dethroning the Buccaneers at home?
I mean, I think it'll be a great feeling. You try not to put too much into, the outcome. You just try your best to kind of, work towards it and, may the best team win. But I think for right now, we're just trying to stack our days here, gain as much information as possible, so that way we can go out there on Super Bowl Sunday, and play fast and make big plays. But, we're not too worried about the outcome. We're not too worried about being, the first or second or third team to really do anything. I think for us, it's all about just put the work in, and then come game day, we'll let that judge it.
We have a follow-up question from Amy Just of the Times-Picayune. Amy?
Yeah, a little off topic here. You tweeted a few weeks back about Drew Brees and what he means to New Orleans. As a native New Orleanian, what does he mean and represent to you?
Hey, to be honest, Drew Brees is, I think he's going to go down as one of those, rare legends, almost, comical in a sense, Marvel-like. I just think, his level of efficiency, the winning attitude that he brought to New Orleans. I could just remember, as a kid, standing in front of the TV, and in our minds, as long as we had Drew Brees, we had a chance to win the game. And it was a lot of years before that where we didn't know if we was going to win the game. So, he definitely brought a different attitude, a different spirit to the city, man. And I think when he brought that championship back home to New Orleans, I think that not only did that do a lot for him and the Saints organizations, but, you know, I think everything that city had been through, you know, we finally had, you know, a reason to celebrate, you know.
Okay, Bob Fesco from 610 Sports Radio in Kansas City. Go ahead, Bob.
Ty, how you doing, my man?
Hey, my guy.
Good to talk to you. How much have you looked back on the game from 07 where Spags was coordinating the Giants and they shut down a high-powered Tom Brady offense that held them to 14 points? And how much of that do you see kind of in yourselves going in this game?
Yeah, I haven't really looked at it a bunch. You know, obviously over the last few years, you know, I dove into a lot of, you know, Giants tapes from back then. You know, I think Spags and Tom, they obviously go way back. You know, I think Tom has a pretty good idea of, you know, the kind of system, you know, that Spags runs. So, you know, it's going to be important for us on the back end to, you know, be able to really get in these receiver face, you know, disrupt timing. And then with the safeties and everyone else, just trying to do our best to disguise certain looks, certain coverages. Because like you mentioned, you know, Tom and Spags, they go way back, you know, over 10 years now.
Okay, we're going to go across the Atlantic Ocean to Tommy, the TV3 in Denmark. Go ahead, Tommy.
Thank you. Hi, Tyrann. How you doing?
Hey, I'm doing well.
So we're doing in our pregame show, we're doing a whole piece on your background, your upbringing, and your whole way through college. Could you talk a little bit about the challenges that you had growing up in New Orleans? It was a pretty tough background. How are you able to use that in a positive way as a human being today?
Yeah, I think, you know, I think a lot of people go through a lot of different things. You know, I'm no different. You know, I probably say one of the biggest takeaways, you know, that I can look back on and be proud of is really all the people that really have came into my life, you know, at different stages. You know, whether it was my grandmother or, you know, my adopted parents or, you know, my high school coach, you know, Les Miles, Patrick Peterson, you know, the list goes on of the different people that have really come in my life and, you know, kind of helped me out a lot. So, you know, I try not to necessarily focus on my struggles, on my shortcomings. You know, it's more so about, you know, being grateful and fortunate, you know, of second chances and, you know, the different people, like I said, that truly embrace me, you know, for who I am.
Okay, we're going to Ben Volin from the Boston Globe. Ben, go ahead.
Hey, Tyrann, congrats on making the Super Bowl again.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
I wanted to ask you about the quarterback you're going up against. You know, everyone talks about his fitness and how you know, well, he takes care of his body that enables him to play till he's 43. But what about his brain? I mean, how smart of a quarterback is he? And like, what's it like watching that guy, you know, on film, you know, who has so much experience?
Yeah, I'd probably say, you know, half of it is, you know, me being in awe of really just the art and, you know, it's almost like poetry in motion. And, you know, the other half of me is kind of like a defender, like, you know, how do I stop this? You know, how do I prepare for this? You know, like I said, he's a guy with great experience, man. He's seen it all. He's done it all. You know, he can make every play. He can make every throw. You know, he can get his team into the right play. You know, I think one of the things I really, you know, has watched him do, you know, over time, not just this year, is he always know where to go with the football, you know, and he's another guy that doesn't let the mistakes he's made kind of dictate, you know, his game going forward. So, you know, he can have a couple bad plays in the first half, but, you know, the second half, he's going to be on top of it. He's going to be sharp. And I think you got to credit a lot of that to, you know, his study habits, obviously, you know, his calm demeanor and just being collected under pressure. You know, like I said earlier, man, you know, every time I played against Tom Brady, you know, it's been a full quarter game, you know, all the way down to the last possession. So, you know, he's one of those quarterbacks that, you know, he's got to be ready to go all out against.
Okay, this is Michael Eisen from NewYorkGiants.com. Michael, go ahead.
Hi, Tyrann. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing good.
Good. So you were talking about Spags a little earlier. Just you've played for different coordinators. What kind of sets Spags apart and his defense apart? And also, you know, people talk a lot about players having big game experience. This is Spags' third Super Bowl. In fact, he's the only coordinator ever to win for two teams. Do you think big game experience is important for coaches like Spags?
Yeah, I think, you know, absolutely. You know, I think big game experience, I think, obviously, anytime you have a coach that has done it, I think it's easier to, reach the players, and I know our players respect Spags a lot, just for, obviously he's a great man and he's a great teacher, but just his experience, man, he has so much knowledge and so much wisdom. I'd probably say one of the things I can appreciate, about Coach Spags is just his detail. He's so detail oriented. He demands that from his coaches. He demands that from his players. And, aside from that, man, he has a good feel for what to do and where to put players in certain defenses. And, not everybody really possess that. I think a lot of people are just, they just so caught up on their system. But, Spags has this way of plugging guys in and, allowing them to flourish and do the things that they're comfortable doing and do the things that they could do to a high level.
Okay, we're going to go to Jory Epstein with USA Today. Jory, go ahead.
Hi, Tyrann. How are you doing today?
Doing good.
Thanks so much for your time. As a leader of this team, I know that y'all have been dealing with COVID all season, but is there anything different you tell your team or that y'all are doing this week to try and make sure you can stay clean from the virus leading up to the Super Bowl?
Well, I think, most importantly, you just try your best to lead by example, and never really get comfortable. Even when you're in the building, you want to go about things the right way. Obviously, I don't think anybody wants, people watching them or telling them what to do. So for me, I think the best way to show guys is to just lead by example, to always wear my mask, to always be conscious, and then also to show those guys that, it's their responsibility as well to, take care of themselves and, possibly take care of others as well.
This is Ben Salton with Amazon Prime Video. Go ahead, Ben.
Hey, Tyrann.
Hey.
Curious to hear from you. Who's the greatest quarterback of all time and why?
I mean, I probably have to say Tom Brady. I think everything he's been able to accomplish, in the last 20 years, we haven't seen anyone be able to do it, and I think him, still playing at a high level, he's playing in a different system, it's different players, and he's still, setting the standard, for excellence. So, I'd probably say, that was an easy answer to that question. I think Tom Brady is probably, the greatest quarterback of all time right now.
This is Vahe Gregorian from the Kansas City Star. Go ahead, Vahe.
Hey, Tyrann.
Hey.
We've talked a lot about how Patrick and Andy seem to have kind of a mind meld going. Do you feel that way at all with Spags, that you guys kind of are in each other's heads that way?
Yeah, I think so. It kind of started last year. And I think a lot of that too is trust, trusting in your coach, and then that same coach trusting in the player. And, I think me and Spags, we see a lot of things the same. We're able to kind of, pull off each other and feed off of each other. So I think that has really, kind of helped us continue to grow. I think anytime you have a coach that truly trusts his player, I think that does nothing but great things for that player. Obviously boost his confidence and, his morale. But, like I said earlier, man, to know that you have somebody that is in the room that studies as much as you, that cares probably more than you, I think that's probably one of the most, fulfilling feelings, as a player, especially when you give it your all.
This is Jeff Nowak from NOLA.com in New Orleans. Go ahead, Jeff.
Hi, Tyrann. How you doing?
Hey, I'm doing good.
Good. This is a bit off topic, but last week, West Ham Football Club came out with a sizable donation to Truce, which is a nonprofit you work with closely. They said it was one of your social media posts that made them aware of the work they do there. First, what was your reaction when you saw that? If you had, I'm assuming you have. And also, what does that organization and others you work with around Louisiana mean to you personally?
Yeah, I mean, that was a great gesture, man. By Mr. Sullivan and those guys. They've been following us closely now for probably want to say almost a half a year now. And, obviously, I think anytime you do great things in the community. A lot of people want to be a part of that. And, so, I mean, we're so grateful, I know I am, and especially the children, over at Truce, for any charitable donation that can really help these kids. And, I think, obviously having programs like Truce, in Louisiana to really help these kids and kind of give them a resource, or outlet to really find out what it is they want to do or what it is they want to become in their life. And so, I think it means a lot to me to be a part of these different programs. And, I know it means a lot to these kids to have someone like me, speaking with them, talking to them, giving them some time out of my day. Probably say over the past year, we've been able to reach a lot of kids, and, we're continuing to grow, as a family. So I'm excited for the future. I'm excited to see what these kids can continue to become.
We're going to go to Jen from Extra. Jen, you're on the line.
Hi, Tyrann. I'm
Hey.
so excited. How are you?
Good.
Excited to see you and the team heading to the Super Bowl again. Okay, so Extra likes to keep things fun. So I've got a quick pop culture quiz for you. You ready?
Okay.
Okay. All right. First question. On which star's life is the upcoming TV show The Young Rock based on?
Dwayne Johnson.
You got it. Next question. Who's performing at the halftime show?
The Weeknd.
Got it again. All right. And then last one. Who is the former NFL player who was just on the most recent Bachelorette?
Oh, you got me there.
Dale Moss.
Got me there.
Wonderful. 2 out of 3. Congratulations.
Appreciate
See you
it.
Sunday.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Okay, we're going to Michael McQuaid from Irish NFL. Go ahead, Michael.
Hey, Tyrann, man. Obviously, congratulations to get through this Sunday. You're about to square off against your former coach, man, Bruce Arians. Can you tell us maybe about your relationship with him ahead of the game?
Oh man, me and Coach BA, man, we've had a great relationship. Ever since my time, in Arizona, and even beyond that, he's always been somebody that, opinions and what he said, meant a lot to me. You got to remember he was one of the first, people, in the National Football League that really believed in me, in my abilities. And, like I said earlier, really allowed me to really flourish at a young age in this league. And, he's still been a guy that I keep in touch with to this day.
Next is Eric Wilson, WKII 1070 AM. Go ahead, Eric.
Hey, what's up, Tyrann, man? Thank you for your time. I had a quick question I wanted to ask you. So you've been somewhat of I guess you could say a journeyman in the NFL. You've been on a couple different teams. What's the biggest difference playing with this Kansas City team under Andy Reid from the other teams that you've been on?
Well, it's all about winning. I think any team you be a part of, I think the end result is all about wins and losses. And, obviously this is a winning culture. Coach Reid has always been a winner. So for me, it's all about, coming in, working hard, and just, keeping my head down.
This is Patrick from the Worldwide NFL Quarterback. Go ahead, Patrick.
Hey, Tyrann, I just wanted to mix it up a little bit, mate, and just ask you, what about yourself as a human particularly are you most proud of?
Oh, man. I'm a giver. I love to give my time. I'm not a person that's big on, material things or possessions. It's more so about, how I impact people, how I affect people, whether that's positively or negatively. But I probably say, the most important thing is that, I'm always willing to give, a little bit of me to help anybody else out.
We're going to go back to Darren Urban at ArizonaCardinals.com. Go ahead, Darren.
Hey, Tyrann. You touched on BA a little earlier, but I'm curious, especially after how close you guys came in 2015 and how that group was pretty optimistic. What's it like now going against so many of those coaches and seeing them in the Super Bowl? You're back there. Just that the the relationships you had with a lot of those defensive coaches and guys that are over there on the other sideline this weekend?
Yeah, man. Those guys are great coaches. They were great coaches, back when we were in Arizona. And, I probably say they were a big reason why, we won so many games, out West. And, to see those guys, all of those guys really continue, coaching and continue teaching and continue leading. That says everything about those guys as a coach. They got a lot of young guys on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers that play, at a big level. And I probably say a lot of that has to go to, those same coaches. I like to think about, the teams we had in Arizona, and, we were a well-coached, football team and I think that really gives you, the chance to go out and really, compete, each and every week to win games. And, like I said, it's good to see those guys continue to have some success in this league.
Tyrann, this is Jaron May. Jaron, go ahead.
Hey, Tyrann, appreciate your time. So Tom Brady, not completely sure if you saw earlier today, had some good things to say about you and your playing style. And the last time he talked about finding someone on every single play, it was Ed Reed when he wrote it down on his play calling sheet that he had to find 20 on every single play. What does it mean to you to have such high praise from what you just said is the greatest player of all time?
I mean, listen, I think that's why you play the game. You play the game for, respect from your coaches, your teammates, and then also your opponents as well. And, obviously I'm a big fan of Tom. I follow him, have always been a fan of him. And so to have somebody, that I idolize in a sense, even recognize me, obviously that's a proud moment for me. But once we step on the field, it's all about competing at a high level. It's all about trying to make the most out of, each opportunity, each play.
Okay, this is Clarence Hill with the Fort Worth Star Telegram. Clarence, go ahead.
What have you done to let people know since leaving Arizona that you're still a big time playmaker? And it seemed like you remade your image. I know coming out of Arizona, the Cowboys, who have been needing safety since forever, didn't think you were a scheme fit. I don't know if that makes you, it's funny that people kind of pigeonholed you, but now everybody universally sees that you are a playmaker.
Yeah, I think, when I first came into this league, man, I was probably one of the most underrated athletes, in the NFL. And I think, going through my injuries, I think having 2 ACL injuries, early on in my career, that could kind of scare a lot of people off. But I think, one of the things people forgot about me was I think they always saw me make splash plays. But I have always been, a guy that always relied on his fundamentals. And I think having those injuries early on in my career obviously scared people off. But, I just had to come back to the point where, mentally, I was always as good as I've always been. And I think having those injuries and then being able to show the mental side of the game as well, even when physically you don't run as fast or you don't jump as high, mentally you can always go to a new level. And for me, that's what I've tried my best to maximize. That's what I've tried my best to fall back on, because you do get older in this league. And, it's hard to kind of stay healthy in this league as well. So for me, I love football, and so it doesn't matter where I'm at on the defense. For me, it's all about understanding the defense, and then from there just relying on, my instincts.
Tyrann, we're going to Brooke Pryor from ESPN. Brooke.
Hey, Tyrann, when you and Antonio Brown were both free agents, you tweeted something like you wanted to go wherever he was going. You guys could play together, that kind of thing. What is it like seeing him now play with the Bucs, not in a Steelers uniform? And does it make the situation any weirder that he and Le'Veon Bell are both playing in the Super Bowl, but for different teams?
Yeah, I mean, anytime, you have guys, with that kind of talent, that kind of ability. You always imagine those guys staying on one team. I think things, change, in the NFL, and, we all have to be ready to adapt. But to see him have success, in Tampa Bay, obviously keep his head down, continue to work hard, continue to be a great teammate to those guys. I've heard a number of positive things, about Antonio. And so, like I said, it's good to see him have some success. It's good to see him smile again.
This is Carito Parks from Double Take Sports. Carita, go ahead.
Yes. Hi, Tyrann. You
Hey.
kind of talked about this a little bit already when it comes to your upbringing and then just also some of the challenges you had professionally. But if you look back over your journey, how would you say you've grown as a man and as a player?
Well, I think, for me as a man, it's all about, forgiving people and then also forgiving yourself too. I think that really allows you to continue to grow, to continue to, accept responsibility for the things that, you feel like you may have done wrong. And then, as a player, I kind of just touched on it, but, just trying my best to grow mentally, in this league. And, obviously there's a lot of different stresses and distractions that come with it. But I think the players who are mentally prepared, on and off the field, those guys usually have, great careers and great success. And so, I'll probably sum it up, with those two things.
Tyrann, this is Therese Paler with Yahoo Sports. Go ahead, Therese.
Hey, Tyrann, how you doing?
Hey, doing good.
Hey, question for you. As one of the best chess pieces in the defensive backfield in football, you're somebody that helps flip the numbers for the Chiefs. Another position that, especially on offense, where where a player like you can really help as a chess piece is tight end. My question for you is, this game obviously has a couple chess pieces at tight end and Kelsey and Gronk. When a tight end is elite, how does that affect what teams do on defense?
It affects you a lot. I think as a defense, you want to protect inside out, right? You want quarterbacks to throw 9 balls the whole game. Those balls aren't, really completed that often. I think anytime you have anybody that's in the middle of the field, it always puts stress on a defense, especially when these guys can work in man-to-man coverage on safeties and linebackers in mismatch situations. And some of these guys, I should say, they're really good when you try to put zones around them. They know exactly where to go and not to run into the next defender. But I think anytime you look at defense or you think of any defense, you try your best to protect inside out. And anytime you have a guy like Gronk and Kelsey, in the middle of the field, it always puts some stress on you.
Okay, Tyrann, we're going to Chris Ryan. Chris, please tell us your affiliation and go ahead for Tyrann.
Hey, Tyrann, WGIR in New England. Wanted to ask you a little bit about Tom Brady. You mentioned some of his attributes before, and I'm curious what stands out the most in terms of his attributes. And you've affected so many games so far this year with your playmaking ability. How do you go about picking your spots and making plays?
Yeah, I'd probably say this, man, he's just so poised, right? And I think this whole season he's been poised, especially with all the noise that they had early on in the season and, him not throwing the ball downfield or hitting those shots. Even when he struggles in certain halves of certain games, he always finds a way to put his team, back in it. And so I probably say that's one of the things I admire about him the most, but I also hate it because I'm a defender. And, when you're up by 20 points or 3 scores, and you give him the ball back, he always has a chance to kind of put his team back in it. So, but that's one of the things I, appreciate about him. I think any team that has a good quarterback, has a chance to win, especially when you have a guy like Tom Brady.
Next up is Nate Davis from USA Today. Nate.
Hey, Tyrann, a similar question, but I'll go ahead and ask it. I was asking some of Tom Brady's teammates, what What makes him special outside the numbers and the rings and the stuff you can see in the box score? I believe you've prepared for him with all three teams you played with. So what is it about him just that, maybe the average fan can't see that makes him so hard to deal with as a defender?
Yeah, I mean, I think most people, may look at him and say to themselves that, he's not, this great athlete at quarterback, but I think one of the things that separate him is really his competitive edge. You can look him in his eye, he has fire in his eye. Like I just mentioned, he always feels like he has a chance to kind of win the game for his team. And so you talk about that poise and keeping your calm and keeping your cool. I'd probably say he's one of the best, at really, holding that in and, letting it go at the right time. So like I said, man, we got to be ready to play full quarters with Tom Brady, even beyond. Like I said, that competitive edge, that drive that he has to still be great. 20 years later, multiple Super Bowls later, I'd probably say he's different than any other athlete, I've seen. Most guys win and they get comfortable. Most guys win and they showboat. Tom Brady seems to win and then go back to work. So, that's a good thing about him.
Next is Leo Haggerty with It's Sports Magazine. Leo.
Tyrann, thanks for doing this. A little bit along the same lines of a question you were asked earlier. Very few players get to go to a Super Bowl, let alone win. You got a chance to win 2 in a row. What kind of legacy would that be for you and for the Chiefs to win 2 consecutive Super Bowls?
I mean, I'm sure it'll be great, to be one of those teams that, we're able to do it, in back-to-back seasons. I'm sure it'll be special, man. But like I said earlier, you try not to really put your hope in the outcome. You just try your best to work as hard as you can so that way you're ready for, whatever the outcome is. And so, but no doubt in my mind, it'll be special, man. Last year was special, bringing that championship back to Kansas City, and to do it 2 times, I'm pretty sure that'll leave a great legacy, for the people of Kansas City and all the areas around it.
Next is Josh Padilla from MTSU Athletics. Go ahead, Josh.
Hey, Tyrann. I was wondering if I could ask you a question about Charvarius Ward. As an undrafted free agent coming into the league, and he's only been playing football for what seems like a couple of years, how proud are you of the way that he's been able to grow?
I mean, I'm extremely proud of, C. Ward, man, and really the player he's become. I remember me coming in last season, and, obviously he was the starting corner, but it was a lot of things that he had to work on, that he had to get better at, in a really short time, man. So to see him continue to work, man, to continue to take coaching, and then not only that, but, to see some things in the film room and then apply those same things on the field, he's really becoming, one of those guys that is going to be talked about, in this league for a long time. He's definitely committed to it, and, to see him have success, to see him be a part of, a successful team, I know that's continuing to drive him, every day.
Next question is a follow-up from Bob Fesco. Go ahead, Bob.
Ty, you've had 2 years now with Andy. What's kind of been the most impactful thing you've learned from him or have taken away from him as a head coach?
I mean, Coach Reid, I'll probably say this, man. He has a way of maximizing, the time. And, whether it's practice, whether it's in meetings, just the structure he's built, the culture he's built here, we're always working on something. We're always trying to find a way to get better. We're always trying to create an edge for ourselves. And, Coach Reid is spearheading this thing, man. He's the leader of it all. And to see him, show up each and every day, with work on his mind, as a player, you want to follow suit. You want to listen to that guy. You want to play for that guy.
Okay, we're going to Kendra Douglas, WESH TV. Go ahead, Kendra.
Hey, Tyrann. So something that I thought was really neat was the connection that you and Leonard Fournette have, going all the way back to high school. Can you talk about the magnitude of and just how rare it is for two athletes to go to the same high school, same college, wear the same number, and now you guys are both playing in the Super Bowl? And can you also talk about your relationship with Leonard?
Yeah, it's gonna be a special moment for us. Like I said, Leonard is a great talent. Such a great player, such a great man as well, such a great father. And to see him to continue to have success in this league, you always want to root for guys like that. Me and Leonard go way, way back. Obviously, to our days at St. Augustine, and even back then, I knew the kid was gonna be special. I knew he loved football. And that was easy to tell. That was easy to see. He's still bigger than me. He was bigger than me back then. But I think at the end of the day, he knows I'm the big brother. But it's going to be fun competing against him, going against him. I'm pretty sure 40 years from now, 50 years from now, we'll laugh, at a table, and talk about, this special moment,
Okay, next question is Adam Kilgore from the Washington Post. Go ahead, Adam.
Tyrann, from when you were in Arizona and overlapped with Byron Leftwich, I know he was on the other side of the ball then, but what do you remember about him as a coach, and sort of just from a player's perspective? Like, did you see him having a pretty long and bright future in the profession?
I did, man. Me and Coach Leftwich, we used to actually sit in the sauna, after practices, even sometimes before practices together. And, obviously me and him share, some of the same agents. And so, we always used to talk ball, even then, I knew he was an intelligent guy, a guy that knew ball, a guy that understood not only offense, but defenses as well. And so even as a young guy, I knew he was going to be, at some point, offensive coordinator, or even a head coach in this league. And, like I said, to see him have that success, to lead that team, I just think about a lot of our conversations in the sauna, just really centered around football and, certain coverages and what the offense or the defense was doing. He just always had that mind, for ball, even when we weren't practicing. So, hats off to Byron and everything he's accomplishing, with the Buccaneers right now.
Okay, we have about 5 more minutes with Tyrann. The next question is Rick Stroud from Tampa Bay. Rick, go ahead.
Hey, Tyrann, I know the goal is to win your second Super Bowl, obviously, but for what he means to you, when you look across the sideline next Sunday and see Bruce Arians, how happy are you for him to be a head coach in this game?
I'm so happy. Like I said, man, he's one of the first guys to really believe in me, man, to really put his arm around me. Him and his wife both, the encouraging words that they always gave to me. And not just Coach, Arians, Nick Rapone, Kevin Ross, Ty Bowles, I probably see those 4 men really, that's where my start in the NFL came from. Those guys were my teachers. Those guys were the guys that were encouraging me to not only be a great football player, but to be a great person off the field. So, it's going to be a weird feeling, man, going up against them. I look at all those guys like fathers and, uncles in a sense. So, but they know me. So they know I'm going to be all out, trying to win the game. But it's going to be fun playing against them. I think that moment, it'll be something I'll never forget.
Next question is for Trajan Watkins from Black Sports Online. Go ahead, Trajan.
Tyrann, how you doing today?
I'm doing good.
Good. I wanted to ask about the challenge that Tampa Bay's tight ends present to the safety group and your linebacker group. Cameron Braid and Rob Gronkowski have each contributed to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers offense at certain points during the season. This postseason, it's been Cameron Braid. During the past, it's been Rob Gronkowski. They sort of intertwine their contributions here and there. So I want to ask what the challenge those two guys present to you and your defense, considering that both of them can go off and put up some numbers anytime they want to.
Yeah, man, I'd probably say this. I don't think the media talks about those guys enough. They talk about the defense and they talk about Tom Brady, and they talk about obviously the wide receivers, but these guys have two tight ends that can really get it done. Like I mentioned a little bit earlier, as a defense, you want to protect inside out. And so anytime you have two guys in there that can block, pass protect and get into routes vertically, it always adds, stress on your defense. I'd probably say this, we've talked about them a lot. I think it's important for us to understand where those guys are at, in every formation, and when those guys are in a game or not. But those guys in particular, especially in the red zone, big body guys that can really, catch any ball. And like I said, obviously structure vertical as well.
Next question is LaRon Massey from Back Sports. LaRon, go ahead.
All right. Hey, what's going on, man? How you doing
What's
today?
up? Good.
Man, I just got one question. I just really want to know, what's your biggest motivation going into the Super Bowl this year? Dealing with COVID and everything that's just been going on between 2020 and 2021.
Well, I think my biggest motivation is really to, stay committed, man. Obviously it's been a long year for everybody. I think we've all had to sacrifice, and really adapt. I think us as football players, we've been very fortunate to continue to really do what we love to do, each and every week. I thought the NFL did a great job of, really allowing us to get to this point. And so for me, it's all about finishing. It's all about continuing to, stay committed to my teammates, committed to the process, and never lose track of that. It's just the biggest game of the season, so you want to make the most of it, but you never want to forget, the people that help you get to this point.
Okay, we're going to go to Brazil and Danilo Lacalle. Go ahead.
Hi, Tyrann. How are you doing? Danilo from Brazil.
Good.
Well, Patrick is your second. Sorry. You faced a great quarterbacks during the season, but what is it like to play Tom Brady in a Super Bowl? Do you have to pay more attention than usual, and does that give you more extra motivation?
I mean, this is the biggest game, of our lives, and we're playing against one of the best quarterbacks of our lives. So the pressure's on, man. Obviously, it's going to be a great challenge for us. I can't speak highly enough of Tom Brady and, all the great things that he's accomplished and done in his career. Just to see him feeling young again, looking young again. I know we're in for a full quarter game, so it's going to be tough. It's going to be a big one, but we'll be ready for it.
Okay, and the last question for Tyrann today is from Jason Fleming, Florida Sun. Go ahead, Jason. Jason, are you there? Okay, let's go to last question here is going to be Colin Paul Macklin. Colin, go ahead.
Tyrann, the Honey Badger, how you feeling, man?
I'm doing well, thank you.
So I'm just curious, what's it like being nicknamed the Honey Badger? Being an undersized but scrappy player, do you believe that's the perfect nickname for your style of play?
Yeah, I mean, decade later, man, it's stuck, so obviously, it's a lot of, familiarities with, the Honey Badger and myself. But, just try to go out there and play as hard as I can, man, relentless as I can, just try to stay with my teammates the whole way through. But yeah, it's a lot of similarities with the Honey Badger, and I'd probably say Tyrann.
Tyrann, thank you very much for your time on behalf of the NFL. We appreciate it. Good luck in the Super Bowl.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Have a good night.
You too.